Hey Reddit. I, 24F, need help processing a situation that has torn my family apart. This is a long and messy story, so grab some popcorn. Growing up in Cedar Springs, Michigan, population 3,500, wasn't easy. My dad died in a construction accident when I was 2, leaving mom, 46F, with 2 young girls and a mountain of medical debt. My sister Ashley, 27F, remembers dad, but I only know him through photos and stories. Mom worked as a middle school teacher during the day and picked up weekend shifts at Denny's to keep us afloat. Our small ranch house needed constant repairs, but we couldn't afford a professional. Mom learned basic plumbing and electrical work from YouTube videos. Despite the struggles, we were close. Mom made every holiday special, even if presents came from the dollar store. She started a tradition of Sunday pancake breakfasts where we talk about our week. Ashley and I shared a room until I was 15, which led to typical sister fights but also late-night conversations about everything and nothing. Mom dated occasionally when we were younger, but nothing serious. There was Tom the pharmacist who lasted 6 months until we discovered his gambling problem. Then came Bill, the nice but boring accountant who moved away for work. Mom always said Ashley and I were her priority, turning down dates that interfered with our activities. Everything changed when I left for college in 2018. Mom seemed to realize her girls were grown and started focusing on herself. She joined a gym, got highlights, and upgraded her teaching certification. Ashley moved to Grand Rapids for work, so Mom had the house to herself for the first time in decades. I met Michael, 25M, during my sophomore year at Michigan State. He was a transfer student from California, studying engineering. We bonded over being broke college kids with complicated family histories. Michael grew up with just his mom, who worked as a nurse. His dad left when he was 4, only sending occasional birthday cards and broken promises to visit. Michael rarely talked about him, just saying they weren't close. Michael and I dated throughout college. After graduation in 2022, I moved back to Cedar Springs to save money while applying to grad schools. Michael followed, taking a remote job so we could be together. Mom was thrilled. She'd always liked Michael, often inviting him to our Sunday pancake tradition. Last March, Mom excitedly told us about meeting Richard, 52M, through Match.com. He was a business executive who'd moved to Grand Rapids after his divorce. Mom fell hard and fast. Soon Richard was at every family dinner, bringing expensive wines and charming everyone with stories about his travels. He mentioned having a son from his previous marriage but said they weren't in contact because his ex had poisoned the relationship. I noticed small inconsistencies in Richard's stories. The timeline of his divorce kept changing. His business trips never seemed to have specific destinations. But Mom was happier than I'd seen her in years, so I kept my doubts to myself. 4 months into dating, Richard proposed during a weekend trip to Chicago. Mom called me crying with joy. The wedding planning consumed her. She deserved her dream wedding after her courthouse ceremony with Dad. Ashley and I were appointed co-maids of honor. Then came the bombshell. 2 weeks before the wedding, Mom mentioned Richard's son was finally coming to town. She casually dropped his full name, Michael Anderson. My Michael went silent, then left the room. When he returned, his hands were shaking. He pulled up an old photo on his phone, a much younger Richard holding a toddler-aged Michael. The pieces clicked horribly into place. The business trips to California weren't for work. Richard had been secretly checking on Michael. The timeline matched his absences from Michael's life. Richard's stories about his ex keeping his son away were lies. He'd chosen to leave. I confronted Mom immediately. Her reaction shocked me. She accused me of trying to sabotage her happiness out of jealousy. When I showed her proof, Michael's birth certificate, old photos, child support documents his mom had kept, Mom said the past was irrelevant. Richard had changed. He deserved a second chance. Richard's response was worse. He offered Michael $50,000 to keep quiet about their relationship until after the wedding. Said it would kill Mom to cancel everything now. Michael refused. Richard threatened to tell people Michael was lying for attention. Mom sided with Richard. She uninvited Michael from the wedding but still expected me to be bridesmaid. When I refused, she said I was being selfish and immature. Ashley tried playing peacemaker, suggesting we all just pretend we didn't know until after the wedding. I couldn't let Mom marry a man capable of such manipulation. The wedding was held at Cedar Springs Community Church, the same place my parents married. During the ceremony, I stood up and told everyone the truth. About Richard abandoning Michael, the attempted bribe, the lies. Michael's mom arrived with years of documented evidence about Richard's neglect. The fallout was nuclear. Mom ran out crying. Richard's family was horrified. He told them Michael's mom had kidnapped him to California. Half the guests left. Ashley called me a drama queen. Michael's mom revealed Richard owed over $100,000 in back child support. Now mom won't speak to me. Ashley says I went too far. Richard's family is split between apologizing to Michael and defending Richard. The town is buzzing with gossip. Michael and I are looking at apartments in Grand Rapids. So Reddit, Ida for exposing this at the wedding? Update 1. Thanks everyone for the support on my last post. The situation has gotten even more complicated, so here's what's happened. After the wedding disaster, mom temporarily moved in with Ashley in Grand Rapids. Cedar Springs became unbearable for her, people whispered at the grocery store, and she took a leave of absence from teaching. Our small town's Facebook groups were filled with speculation and drama. The Cedar Springs Gazette even ran a front-page story about the wedding, focusing on Richard's history of abandonment. Richard launched a smear campaign against me. He sent emails to our entire extended family claiming I was unstable and jealous of his relationship with mom. He twisted the story, saying Michael had rejected his attempts at reconciliation over the years. But his lies fell apart when 3 women reached out to me through Facebook. Lisa from Toledo had a 15-year-old daughter named Rachel. Richard dated Lisa for 2 years, promised marriage, then disappeared when she got pregnant. Amanda from Indianapolis had similar story, her daughter Kenzie was 13. The most recent was Beth from Milwaukee, whose son Tommy was 10. Richard had been in and out of their lives, making promises he never kept. All 3 women had documentation, photos, letters, child support court orders. Richard had a pattern: target single moms, play dad to their kids, make grand promises, then vanish. He changed jobs and moved to new cities, leaving broken families behind. Michael struggled processing this information. Finding out about his half-siblings brought up complicated feelings about his childhood. Rachel, Kenzie, and Tommy looked just like him, same nose, same smile. They started a group chat, sharing stories about their absent father. Michael's mom helped them file a joint complaint about the unpaid child support. The community reaction surprised me. My old high school teachers, mom's colleagues, even our pastor, they all reached out supporting my decision to expose Richard. Several people admitted they'd seen red flags but stayed quiet to keep peace. Mrs. Henderson from church revealed Richard had asked to borrow money, claiming business troubles. Ashley remained firmly on mom's side. She blocked me on social media and told relatives I was dead to her. Her boyfriend proposed last month, and I heard through cousins that I'm banned from the wedding. 20 years of sisterhood destroyed because I told the truth. Mom's best friend Helen finally convinced her to see a financial advisor. They discovered Richard had opened credit cards in mom's name during their engagement. He'd also convinced her to invest $15,000 in his business venture, money from selling her engagement ring from dad. The advisor found no record of the investment company. Michael's mom became my rock through everything. She'd been through this 20 years ago, watching Richard charm everyone while hiding his true nature. She helped me find a job at her hospital in Grand Rapids when the whispers in Cedar Springs became too much. Having her support meant everything, especially since my own mom wouldn't speak to me. The hardest part was watching mom's depression return. Helen said she barely left Ashley's guest room for weeks, too humiliated to face anyone. She'd lost weight and started therapy. Part of me felt guilty for causing her pain, but I knew exposing Richard prevented worse heartbreak later. Richard tried contacting Michael several times, claiming he wanted to make things right. Each message manipulated Michael's emotions, bringing up childhood memories, promising changed behavior. Michael blocked his number but struggled with anger about the lost years and new siblings. Update 2. Hey Reddit, back with another update because things keep getting wilder. Richard's house of cards finally collapsed. The FBI arrested him at his office for tax fraud, money laundering, and identity theft. Turns out those business trips were part of an elaborate scheme. He'd been running fake investment companies, convincing people, mostly single moms, to invest their savings. The money disappeared into offshore accounts. During the investigation, more victims emerged. Richard had a decade-long pattern of financial fraud wrapped in romantic manipulation. He'd use dating apps to find vulnerable women, usually in small Midwest towns. He'd date them for months, integrate into their families, then convince them to invest in his schemes. When the money dried up, he'd vanish. The investigation uncovered 2 more half-siblings for Michael. Twins Alex and Andrea, 16, from Minnesota, whose mom lost her house investing in Richard's fake tech startup. Their mom Maria had screenshots of Richard's promises to pay for their college. The twins joined the siblings group chat, which now had regular Sunday video calls. Mom slowly started acknowledging reality. She sent me a fruit basket from the local market, our childhood signal for wanting to talk. We met at Denny's, where she used to waitress. She looked older, tired. No dramatic apologies or tears. Just quiet acceptance that I tried to protect her. We're not back to Sunday pancakes, but we text occasionally about safe topics like weather and TV shows. Ashley dug in deeper defending mom. She got married in September, a lavish event I watched through relatives' social media posts. Some guests asked about my absence, so Ashley spread rumors about me having drug problems. My childhood friends knew better, but the lies still hurt. Richard's elderly parents, George and Martha, drove from Ohio to meet Michael. They brought old photos and apologized for enabling their son's behavior. George had dementia but remembered teaching young Michael to fish during his few childhood visits. Martha cried seeing Michael's resemblance to Richard at that age. Michael's promotion meant relocating to Detroit. I transferred to a hospital there, grateful to escape small-town scrutiny. We bought a fixer-upper house, ironically using skills Mom taught me from those YouTube repair videos. Every DIY project feels like reclaiming something Richard tried to steal, our sense of capability, of making something honest with our hands. The sibling support group expanded beyond Richard's kids. Other people with absent parents joined their calls. Michael started mentoring younger members, sharing coping strategies he'd learned. Watching him transform pain into purpose helped heal some of his own wounds. Richard's trial starts next month. Multiple victims will testify. Michael's considering speaking but struggles with facing his father in court. His mom says whatever he chooses is valid. Some days the anger feels fresh, others it's just tired acceptance of who Richard really is. Update 3 Hey Reddit. Writing this last update from our new home in Detroit, where life finally feels stable. Richard's trial lasted 3 weeks. The evidence was overwhelming: fake companies, forged documents, stolen identities. 8 women testified about his romance scams. Mom wasn't called as a witness but attended every day, sitting quietly in the back row. Richard got 15 years in federal prison, plus orders to repay millions in restitution. His defense strategy backfired spectacularly. He claimed mental illness made him create fake businesses and abandon his kids. The prosecutor presented his dating app history. He'd been messaging new targets while engaged to Mom. The judge called him a calculated predator and imposed the maximum sentence. The Cedar Springs drama faded once bigger newspapers picked up the story. Mom returned to teaching. Her students' parents were surprisingly supportive, many having experienced similar relationship frauds. The local bank even hired her to teach financial literacy workshops, turning her experience into education for others. Ashley had her first child last month. Mom mentioned the baby during our monthly coffee meetup. I sent a gift card but maintained distance. Some relationships work better with boundaries. The sisters who shared late-night secrets are gone, replaced by polite strangers who share DNA. Michael's half-siblings became closer than we expected. The twins visit often, sleeping on our living room floor like it's a permanent slumber party. Rachel started college nearby and babysits for Maria's kids. Tommy and Kenzie bonded over soccer, their teams playing in a regional tournament last week. They've created their own weird, wonderful family unit. Richard's parents sold their Ohio home and moved to Detroit to be near the grandkids. George's dementia progressed, but he has clear moments where he shares stories about Richard's childhood. Martha joined grief counseling, processing her role in enabling her son's behavior. They're trying to right wrongs they didn't directly commit. The most surprising development came from an unexpected source. Richard's cellmate's wife contacted me. Apparently Richard spends his days bragging about his schemes and planning new ones for release. We forwarded her letters to the prosecutor. Some people never change, and that's okay. We don't need them to. Michael and I kept our wedding small, just 30 guests in our backyard. Mom came but left before the reception. The siblings group chat exploded with congratulations. Michael's mom gave a beautiful toast about building love on honest foundations. The best revenge is living well, they say. Cedar Springs feels like a different lifetime now. Our house needs work, but it's ours, bought with honest money and sweat equity. Michael mentors at-risk youth, sharing his story to help others spot manipulation. I'm starting nurse practitioner school next fall. We're building the life Richard pretended to have. To everyone who supported us through this saga, thank you. Sometimes exposing the truth feels like throwing a grenade into your own life. But watching lies destroy families from the inside is worse. We're done letting Richard's shadow darken our future. Signing off for good. Take care, Reddit.